Hello everyone at the Toffee Blues, my name is Don Betts and I'm from the Fulhamish podcast and YouTube channel. Looking ahead to Saturday, 5:30, Fulham vs Everton at Craven Cottage. Marco Silva, ex-Everton against Frank Lampard. You know, from Fulham's arch rivals Chelsea, who's never been Fulham fans' favourite player, so it should be an interesting game. Going and starting, seeing what Fulham have done this season, 7th in the table after 10 or 11 games, we can't complain. It's a lot better than we were expecting. I thought we would do better than we have in previous campaigns when we've gone straight back down, but to be 7th in the table, have an excellent home record, bar that loss to, obviously, Newcastle, had some good away wins and good away results, you know, getting that win away at Nottingham Forest, getting the win away at Leeds United on the weekend, so it's gone better than most Fulham fans could have expected, and we're hoping this is just a start. We're hoping this isn't sort of a full start and we'll piece your way after the World Cup, but, you know, if Marco Silva can keep what he's doing, then there's no reason why Fulham can't comfortably stay up in the Premier League this season. The business that Fulham done in the summer was thankfully good business for once. You know, there's been so many times where we spent 100 million on the likes of John Mikel Seri, Zambo Anguissa, Andre Schürrle, Alfie Mawson, Massim Lamarchon, then Ryan Babel and Lazar Markovic in the January transfer window. Those days are gone. The days are gone of just signing players on loan, the likes of Hakeem Anderson, Alphonse Areola, Ola Aina, Adamola Lookman, Josh Maja. We've actually had a good transfer window. Brilliant, like João Palhinha in from Sporting. You've got obviously Willian on a free transfer, Andreas Pereira from Manchester United, you've got Issa Diop from West Ham, Bernd Leno from Arsenal, so it's been a very, very good transfer window, and what we've done, instead of trying to get a brand new team in, we've just added to the core players. You've got the likes of Mitrovic, the likes of Tom Kearney, Harrison Reed, Tosin, Tim Ream, Kene Tete, Angie Rock. We're just adding to the core and just making slight improvements, and that seemed to work. It never worked, as you see with Nottingham Forest this season, if you just try to create a brand new side, and that's why Fulham are flourishing in the Premier League so far. Obviously, the big point Everton fans will want to know about is Marco Silva, obviously your guys' former manager. Obviously got you guys a top 10 finishes at the club, but then when he was sacked, you guys were petering around the relegation zone. So, Marco Silva, I mean, you won't find a Fulham fan who's got a bad word to say about him. He's been excellent, you know, yes, he should have got us up last year. That was the sort of minimum to get us up last year, but the way he did it, the football we were playing, compared to the football we were playing under Scott Parker, it was night and day. You know, if you compare it to our two previous promotion campaigns under Scott Parker and Slavisa Jokanovic, you know, we won the league this time. It's the first time we've actually won the championship since 2001 under Jin Tagana. The two previous promotions since then were obviously in the playoffs under Scott Parker and Jokanovic, as I said, and, you know, the football under Jokanovic was good. The football under Parker it got us results, but it wasn't exactly exciting. So, yeah, all the Fulham fans are behind Marcus with the amount of goals we scored. You know, Mitrovic getting, 40 plus goals in the championship last season. Obviously, he started the season so well this year, and I think he's probably the best manager Fulham have had in about a decade, probably since sort of the Mark Hughes, Roy Hodgson days. You could maybe include the first year of Martin Yeo in there, but yeah, I think that it's just been a breath of fresh air compared to what we've been used to, and I think hopefully this is the start of Fulham getting back to where that we feel we belong, where we were sort of for 10, 15 years, comfortable in the Premier League, staying up each year, pushing for top 10s, sometimes even pushing for Europe. You know, we were in Europe 2 or 3 times during that 13-year stint in the Premier League, so hopefully in the long-term future we can get back to those days, and I think Marco Silva has learnt his lessons from Everton, he's learnt his lessons from Watford, and I think he believes in the project here at Fulham. You know, you can tell by his coaching staff, the players he's bringing in. You know, he believes he can take this club places, and all the Fulham fans are solely behind him. There's a reason the Fulham fans have a chant calling him a genius, and that's why we're sitting 7th in the league after 10, 11 games. If we're looking at Everton so far this season, when the season first started, I didn't really know what to expect. Obviously, Everton just stayed up last year. And then, you know, with Lampard, with an inexperienced manager, I didn't know what to expect. I thought you guys would be in and around the relegation battle, but then I thought we were, and we're now 7th in the league. So, but I think that result against Palace sort of stopped the rot for you guys, because you guys obviously had lost 3 or 4 games in a row, and it's not what you want to be doing, you know, in the start of the season. I think so far, I think you've been impressive at Goodison Park. I think away from home has been a lot left to be desired for, but I think, you know, at Goodison Park, you guys are trying to make that a fortress again, a bit like what we're trying to do at Craven Cottage this season. So I wouldn't say I've been overly impressed or unimpressed with Everton. I think Everton, what they've done so far this season is what I've been expecting, really. Looking at Everton's sort of transfer business, I think that, you know, the Onana signing midfield, I think has been a great signing. I think that's what's been needed in the team. And I think it's not necessarily the sum of business that Everton have done this season for me. You know, obviously the likes of Tarkowski and Cody at the back has brought some real defensive stability to the team. But players who necessarily, you know, you weren't expecting to do so well this season, the likes of Alex Iwobi, I think, you know, has really come on leaps and bounds under Frank Lampard. And I think that the building the stability from the back will allow the players in the midfield and the attack, the likes of Anthony Gordon, the likes of Alex Iwobi, Calvert-Lewin now is back fit to really get going and not worry about conceding 3 or 4 goals a game or conceding every single game. So yeah, I think the defensive stability and the signing of Onana is what really impressed me by Everton's business so far. Thoughts on Lampard? You're asking a Fulham fan. I'm not exactly going to have a positive word to say about him, but he's done better this season than I've been expecting. I thought he'd have quite a poor season, but he's obviously started a bit better. He started poorly, got better, then you had to sort of run a 3 or 4 games where you weren't getting the results you wanted, and you got that big win against Palace on the weekend. So I'm not actually going to have a positive word to say about Frank Lampard, a bit like how you Everton fans won't have a positive way to say about Steven Gerrard as a manager, but I think Lampard's good enough to keep you up, but I don't think he's good enough to take you where you want to go. I think that's the next manager's job, to taking you back to the top 10 and being fighting for those European places. If we're looking at the danger men for Fulham, obviously everyone's going to point to Mitrovic. He's got 9 goals in 11 games. I think the only player with a higher goals per minute ratio to him is Erling Haaland, and so I think that says something. I think it's every 105 minutes. So obviously Mitrovic is going to be the one that everyone talks about as the player to watch out for when it comes to Fulham. But I think it comes to our midfield 2 who play, or midfield 3 if you include Pereira in there. I think João Palhinha has probably been our best signing of the season so far. Such a good holding midfielder is what we've been missing. We haven't had a midfielder this technically gifted, this strong, probably since we sold Moussa Dembele to Spurs. Then you've got Harrison Reed, who's really come on leaps and bounds this season because Palhinha in the 6 has allowed Reed to move into the 8 and show what he can do going forward, because all we've seen is him as a more defensive-minded midfielder in recent times, but he's shown what he can do going forward. And obviously Andreas Pereira, dead ball specialist, as we saw, got 1 assist from a corner, which Mitrovic headed against Leeds United, then got another assist when the ball came back to him and he whipped it in for Bobby Reed's header to give us a 2-1 lead against Leeds United. So I think it's our midfield 3, if you're looking outside of Mitrovic, as the players to watch. They really combine really well, and I think it's making sure, I think it's the midfield battle, the likes of Onana, see who can win the midfield battle, and then I think that will determine this game. I think though that midfield battle alongside Mitrovic, obviously your defenders will be preoccupied trying to defend yourselves from the Serbian goal machine that is Alexander Mitrovic. I think he's got over like 50 goals in all competitions for club and country this season now, so you can't complain about that. Danger man for Everton, I think when it comes to causing its issues, I'll look at Calvert-Lewin, but I think Anthony Gordon is a very, very good player. Obviously, there was a reason he was linked with Chelsea in the summer transfer window. We're not the strongest at the back. We're kind of one of those teams who score a lot of goals but concede a lot of goals as well. I mean, we've scored the same amount of goals as we concede. I think it's sort of 22, 23. So I'm looking for the likes of Anthony Gordon and Calvert-Lewin as the players who are sort of going to pose Fulham the most problems. When you go into the likely lineup, depends on injuries, but I imagine it will be a similar lineup to what we saw against Leeds United. So you'll have Bernd Leno in goal, then a back 4 of either Bobby Reed or Kene Tete, depending if Kene Tete's back fit or not. But if he's not, it'll be Bobby Reed. I would go with Tim Ream and Diop. I'd bring Diop in for tossing. I thought he had quite a poor game against Leeds comparatively to Tim Ream. Then left back will be Anthony Robinson, obviously ex-Everton player, who's come on leaps and bounds like another one this season. I wasn't a big fan of him in the Championship last year, but now he's been probably our best left back we've had in a long time, and long may it continue. Then you have the midfield 2 of João Palhinha and Harrison Reed, as I said. Then you'll have sort of Andreas Pereira in behind Mitrovic, and out wide, I'd personally like to see. I obviously want to see Neeskens Cabano, and I want to see Willian. I want to see those 2 playing. Harry Wilson, I still think is not fully fit, so maybe give him a substitute appearance off the bench. But then I can all see the debate of having Harry Wilson get his minutes, 60 minutes, then bring Cabano on because he's a bit more of an impact player. But definitely Willian. Willian's been another surprise signing this season, and then one of Neeskens Cabano or Wilson, as I said. Then you'll have Pereira in behind Mitrovic. Score prediction, I think we're going to continue our strong home form. I think, obviously there was the shock 4-1 loss after Nathaniel Chalobah got a red card after 8 minutes, but apart from that, we've been very, very strong at home. We got a point against Liverpool, we beat Brighton, we beat Brentford, we beat Aston Villa, so there's no reason we can't get another win here. I think it'll be a tight game, and I think Fulham will just edge it 2-1. And what's my go-to match day meal? Well, usually I usually have bacon roll in the morning before I head to the pub. Go to the pub, go to the game, go to the pub after, then and probably get a dirty kebab on the way home. Lamb shish with extra garlic sauce would be my choice. But I've been Don Betts from the Fulhamish podcast and YouTube channel. Make sure to check us out. Obviously a podcast on Spotify, all the usual channels. YouTube channel, just search Fulhamish, it will come up straight away. Enjoy the game.